Daredevils Lesson 21, Cliff Diving in Acapulco. Each day at the top of the cliff in Acapulco, Mexico, a group of men stop to say a prayer. You would pray too if you were about to take a 130-foot dive into the sea below. The men are the famous Acapulco cliff divers. Each day they astonish a crowd of spectators by diving into water that is a scant 12 feet deep. It doesn't matter how many times the men have done it before. They approach every dive. They kneel in prayer at the small blue and white shrine of Virgin of Guadalupe. The shrine, decked out with little candles and paper flowers, stands at the top of the cliff itself. Understandably, the men want a little divine insurance before they step off the edge of the cliff and dive off. Most people would never dream of diving off such a high cliff. But then again, most people wouldn't climb up such a high cliff in the first place. To get to the top, divers must scale the sheer rocky face of the cliff called La Quebrada. Once they've reached the top, they walk out to a rocky ledge and stand watching the waves roll in and out of the tiny cove 130 feet below. The men are not just admiring the beauty of the sea, they are studying the waves carefully. After all, they must time their dives precisely so they hit the water when it is at its deepest. The water must be at least 12 feet deep for a safe dive. Although the dive lasts only 3 seconds, the divers gather enough speed to hit the water going nearly 60 miles per hour. After knifing into the sea, divers must immediately change direction to avoid smashing into the ocean floor. They quickly loop up toward the surface as soon as they are underwater. Most of the divers are short, with strong, compact bodies. This is one sport where it hurts, literally, to be over 6 feet. Tall, lanky people are not the best for this kind of diving, says stocky cliff diver Estiguero Torres Moreno. It helps if you are not too tall, because the water is not very deep. La Quebrada has been a hot tourist destination since the 1930s. During that period, Swiss entrepreneur Ernest Henry Teddy Stauffer and his movie star wife, Hedy Lamarr, discovered the sleepy port of Acapulco on the Pacific Ocean. Known as Mr. Acapulco, Stauffer wanted to attract wealthy tourists to his new Hotel Mirador, which he built just outside of town. As his top attraction, he hired a group of local men to dive off the nearby cliff of La Quebrada. They've been cliff diving ever since. The tradition has been passed down through families, with sons and nephews picking up where fathers left off. Today, the image of the divers plunging into the raging surf has become synonymous with Acapulco itself. The cliff divers of La Quebrada perform 5 times a day, regardless of the weather. Most of their jumps are done at sunset or at night. Diving in dim light makes for a truly spectacular show because the divers carry a flaming torch in each hand as they go. Tourists can see the divers light their torches, run down the steps to the ocean, swim across the cove, scramble up the cliff, and dive. To add a bit of extra spice, several of the cliff divers execute a full somersault on the way down. And just in case anyone gets bored, 2 or 3 divers often dive at the same time. To the cliff divers, this is a job, a way of life. They even have their own labor union. The divers, who range in age from 16 to their mid-40s, get paid a fee from the hotel owners, earn additional income by posing for photographs with tourists. Since cliff diving is such a demanding occupation, the divers must stay in top physical condition. Every day they lift weights and run up and down the streets of Acapulco. To protect their act from other daredevils, they do not allow anyone outside the union to dive from La Quebrada. Although they dive off the cliff routinely, the divers realize theirs is a very risky business. Some say their families refuse to watch them perform. The work is so dangerous. Cliff divers have suffered terrible injuries, including broken bones, neck and back injuries, concussions. The torches they carry can leave burns on their hands and arms. The biggest risk is misjudging the waves, hitting the water at the wrong time. Such a miscalculation will drive the diver's head and face straight to the ocean bottom. To do this job, explains diver Ernesto Vargas, you can't be afraid of the ocean. You have to be brave enough to die. Even so, incredibly, no one has never died on the job at La Quebrada. Maybe the prayers the divers say, the crucifixes they wear explain their spotless record. Maybe the diver's own fear prevents them from doing anything foolish. To some of the divers, each time is like the first time, reports Jorge Monico. You always feel scared, but for this reason, you are always careful. Taken together, the danger, the admiration of the crowd, the breathtaking setting make cliff diving a thrill, even for seasoned veterans in the group. Asked what it is like to dive off that cliff, a diver named Raul Garcia smiles and says, "It's like kissing a girl for the first time."